recording?
I think it's recording. Okay.
Here we are. Hello, I'm Naomi.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And you may have noticed, with some new faces in the chairs this time for episode 38 of the Espace Tricot podcast.
Yeah, we are the new co-owners of Espace Tricot and LYS in Montreal.
And, wow, I'm kind of speechless about it.
I know. Well, we better get not speechless.
I know, because we have a whole podcast to do. As
Absolutely.
soon as we start talking about yarn, you won't be able to shut us up, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. So should we start by introducing ourselves a little bit?
I guess that's a good place to start.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm Stephanie Earp, and I started working at Espace Tricot in 2016. I came in to buy some yarn, and the next thing you knew, I had a job. And since then, I've been working a little bit behind the scenes. I lay out some of the patterns and do stuff like that. And I love to design. I've designed a whole bunch of different patterns. I'm going to show you some of those today. But obviously from working here, I met Naomi.
I have a bit of a similar origin story to Steph. I came in one Saturday while I was working a 9-to-5 job that I wasn't crazy about. And while I was browsing, Sasha, who still works with us, came up and said, hey, didn't you work at La Tricotech, which was another yarn store in Montreal at the time? And I said that I had to leave because I found a full-time job. And then the next thing I know, I see her whispering to Lisa over on the other side of the store, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going on there. Lisa comes over and asks if, or was it Sasha came over anyway and asked if I wanted to replace her because she was going on mat leave with her first little one. And so, yeah, next thing I knew, I was coming in and spending my days in heaven every Saturday.
I know. I mean, I feel like that first year, all I did was spend all of the money I earned on yarn.
Yeah, it was a little bit like that. It was just so inspiring, and I learned so much so fast.
Yeah,
I think as soon as I was around it all the time.
And I remember the first time I did a sample for the store, like what I learned about finishing, because it knew it had to be for the store. It was different than it was for me. I was going to be presenting it, and it was going to be here on the floor.
Yeah.
And I just put so much more effort into my finishing, and I asked the different people who worked here, my new colleagues, like, how do I do this? So yeah, you learn so much from being in the store.
Because you really get, you get this inspiration from so many people around you, but also that you kind of like absorb the experiences of everyone around you. Like people coming in with their questions, and sometimes I didn't know the answer and I could pass it on to a colleague, and sometimes I did know the answer because someone had come in before, and I started to realize that my problems or my mistakes were not silly. They were just things that everyone encounters in knitting, and everyone's knitting process is different, and we all encounter different mistakes, and I feel like the only reason I am such a skilled knitter now, and I want to own that, I want to say it, I am a skilled knitter, and I love it, and I take pride in the fact that I'm good at this craft that I love, but that is because I've been working in a yarn store.
No, I know you mean, because often, like, you know, like that moment when you're looking at a pattern and someone's presenting you with the issue, and you realize that you've never done that, and you don't know how to solve it, and there's that terrible sort of like imposter syndrome feeling of like, should I really be doing this? But then you work it out together. You learn it.
Yeah.
The person you're working with learns it. And then the next time someone comes in, you're like, okay, I've seen this one before.
It's true. And like, sure, I may be knitting 1 or 2 things at a time, or 5, 6. But, and I'm, you know, I come across issues and I make mistakes and I drop stitches and I redo things in all of them. But that is very much less exposure than when I'm in a store and 20 people may come in one day. And they all have
different things,
something to be proud of, something to fix. So that's what I mean by just like, by the exposure of working in a yarn store is how is basically the only reason I feel like we've got to this point where I don't think do we have any imposter syndrome? We probably have a bit.
Oh, I have my moments of imposter syndrome when I see like people on Instagram are like, oh, I just took this amazing course on double knitting and brioche in the round with lace and cables, and I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta put that on my list.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that like we're sitting down, like we don't have a ton of a script here. We have things we want to show you.
We haven't planned much at all.
But I think it's interesting that the first thing that we wanted to talk about is sort of like that experience of being in the store with customers. Because I think that's been the most intense thing about the last, 18 days?
Yeah, just the pace, the change of it. It's been wonderful. And everyone's just been so amazing.
Yeah.
It's been just, you guys,
Thank
you folk, you are all like you've just been wonderful. All of you have said anything about the transition, about the future, about your amazing memories with Lisa and Melissa. It's just all come together to be such a wonderful experience.
Yeah, we're
wonderful. We're
super
blessed.
lucky.
Yeah.
So look, should we get into it and show some stuff
Yeah,
that we've been
enough
working
about
on?
us.
Yeah.
What about all our yarn?
Yeah.
We were wondering, building up to this podcast, like, what shall we show? What's new? And we haven't been able to do podcasts in such a long time that basically everything is new.
Yeah, there's a ton of new stuff in the store. So we kind of selected a few of our favorite things that we're really excited about that we wanted to show you. Do you want to start there, or do you want to start with projects?
Well, yeah, that's what's our little outline in a nutshell. We kind of, Steph's podcasted before. I did back years ago before I realized I didn't really have much to say.
You need to get over that.
Yeah. Well, now I have a whole store. But, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Lisa and Melissa's model is pretty good. You know? We want to show you our works in progress. We want to show you our finished objects. We want to show you our upcoming plans and some beautiful fun things we have in the store.
But I'll start with let's start with some finished objects.
Yeah, what are we wearing?
Okay, so what are we wearing? That's always one of the best little bits in the podcast. So I am wearing a sweater called L'Express. That's my French accent. This is actually this is a Melissa Clue design.
It is, yeah.
And it's in Lamana Como, which is a beautiful yarn. Oh, I've got a fluff.
Oh, is it like a sticker or something?
Sticker.
Oh no, it'll come off.
Oh gosh.
We have stickers all over the place.
This is a store sample, so now I'm like, oh my god, I got a sticker on our store sample. Okay,
you're good.
I'll do it like this. This is Lamana Como, which is a very beautiful yarn in the ball. But really, I had only ever seen it in the ball until this sample was made, and then I touched it, and it was like, it is beyond. It feels like cashmere, honestly. Like it reminds me of like those beautiful cashmere sweaters that you find in the department stores around the holidays. Like it's got that kind of feel to it. So yeah, one of our own free patterns, and we've got lots of this yarn in stock, I think, at the moment.
We will put the colorways we used and the quantities in the show notes, which we will have below in the YouTube comments. We're thinking we won't put them on Ravelry just because it's easier to keep them all in the same place. So just take a look in the comments below for everything we mention this episode.
But yeah, I chose to wear it today because I wanted a nice little neutral backdrop so I could show off another one of my FOs that I'm really excited about. So this is actually going to be my very first Espace Tricot design, and it's called You Had Me At Tricot, which is like our phrase that's on some of our bags, and our signature color is often called that. We've got a few different colorways or different brands where we have a You Had Me At Tricot colorway, and one of them is from La Bien Aimée. So I decided to use that signature colorway to create, and of course, held together with Mohair,
of course,
naturally, to create my first Espace Tricot design. Would you mind holding out this end for me? So you can see it's a scarf, really, but it's a sort of shawly scarf with a beautiful ruffle, and it's about, I think it's 78 inches long, so nice and long. You can really wrap it around you, which is what I'm going to do with this fabulous ruffle. So you can do the typical sort of draping it around thing like this. But what I think is so cool about it is you can kind of layer up the ruffles. So by wrapping it a few times. And so you get like multiples, am I getting it right?
Yeah.
Of the ruffles, and like super feminine. I like anything that's a lot, and this is a lot feminine. But I was inspired by two existing Espace Tricot patterns, the La Duca Kick shawl by Lisa, which has this fabulous ruffle on it, and then the Fleur shawl by Melissa, which uses these colors.
Such a classic.
So
both of them, such classics. And that's one of those ones where, well, why don't you show the skeins individually?
Oh yeah.
Because it's just such a lovely way to see how Mohair plays with a base color. Because we're often like really trying to match our Mohair and our base yarns, but you can really play with contrast and it doesn't look marred. It kind of just, the Mohair will kind of just influence the overall color. Just, you could have chosen like a deep fuchsia and it would have been something else entirely.
Totally.
And that combination made me completely revisit a yarn that I love in the skein, but never really thought of using because I know it's not really my wardrobe, and I would love knitting it, but would I wear it? And then you can, the effect overall with the the white mohair is just something else entirely. And you already have me planning my next project for that. And I want to show you. I want to get your opinion on what yarns I would use because I picked these while you were still getting ready.
Really?
So, this Leizu fingering simple has just always called to me. And I was thinking of pairing it with, again, this whole influence thing of like a very pale blue.
I like that idea.
Or a grey, like more in keeping with the actual base color.
I'd go for the blue because I think it will change it. It'll make it something different. I think that'd be really cool.
It'll lift it a bit. But enough about me. We will be having kits.
Absolutely. We will. The pattern is written, and I just want to get it tech edited and, of course, translated into French as well. And when all of that's done, this will come out as a kit, and the pattern will be called You Had Me At Tricot. And it will take 2 of each. And just a note on styling. I would totally wear this with a badass leather jacket.
Oh, totally. Well, you came in wearing
I know. I was like, maybe after the podcast I'll take this home.
I think we'll have to do some model shots.
Okay. Deal.
When
Absolutely. So yeah, that literally is like fresh, hot off the needles. And really looking forward to getting it finished.
And you probably, did you even steam it? It's totally ready to go.
I did steam it. I just wanted to make sure I was getting the gauge right when I was writing up the pattern. So I gave it a little steam. So I think that's my FOs, finished objects. What about you? I happen to notice something you're wearing.
Indeed, I am wearing a new sweater, hot off the needles. I bound this off and steam ironed it yesterday night. Accidentally fell asleep at 4 p.m, woke up at 7 and finished the bind off.
Hey, sometimes you need a nap before you finish.
You needed a nap. Not that this was sort of like a marathon that needed lots of breaks. This was a very simple knit. Starting off from Melissa's Bright Side sweater pattern, but I did make, I think, sufficient changes with the needle sizes and the arm and body shaping that I may as well write it up into a fresh pattern because, I want it to be more accessible than just tons of notes on Ravelry.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe, I don't know if you'll still see me if I stand up and give it a little twirl, but I'll try.
It out.
So it's really quite cropped. My natural waist is here and it just drops a couple inches below my natural waist, and it's got a little split high-low hem and a boxy raglan, and it just makes me feel like swishing.
And what are we going to call this?
What are we going to call this? We are going to call this after, I was knitting it a lot on the Thanksgiving weekend, and I made gingerbread pumpkin cookies because I didn't make pie, and so I thought I'd call it the gingerbread sweater.
Love it. And what did you make it with?
It is in, and I have it ready to show you. A part of it at least. So, my new favorite combination. Knitting for Olive Merino, which is 100% untreated merino, in an absolutely gorgeous palette. And Camarose Midnatssol. This is baby alpaca, tencel, and merino wool. So, this company in general, it's produced in Europe, and they really do make an effort for environmental and ecological sustainability. Tencel itself is a very much more environmentally friendly alternative to viscoses, just in the way it's produced. It adds this gorgeous halo while remaining quite matte, and I feel like it's sort of an in-between brushed Surrey and Mohair. My Mohair silk knits, I feel like they're too fancy for like everyday wear, which I've got to get over because I love the effect. And then Surrey sometimes feels, it's more like a fluffy, cozy, like lounge wear. It's like luxury lounge wear.
Yeah, this is a nice like split the difference. This is a little bit in between, and its inner core that's holding the alpaca fibers is a little bit darker than its outer fluff. And so, I was talking a little bit about contrasting mohairs before, and these two, you wouldn't necessarily think that they are an exact match. This is quite darker, but overall it gives this gorgeous it's effect. Really subtle effect of marling.
Yeah, and
but
I'm actually quite hot under the light, so maybe I'll take it off and show you a little closer. So
while you're holding that up, tell people what untreated merino means.
Oh, untreated merino. It hasn't been treated to be machine washable. So untreated, I think, is becoming quite a commonly recognized term for non-superwash. The superwash treatment is generally the one generally used is called the chlorine Hercoset treatment, which, and I'm sure a lot of people know this better than I, but generally is a process of bleaching the yarn first to smooth down the scales of the wool fibers, which the scales are what interlock in felting, and then it is coated in a polymer. So that is a commonly used superwash treatment.
But like the untreated merino, to be clear, is super soft still.
It's gorgeously soft, and I don't know. There's something about its spin. It just has a lot of character, like the visible spin of it, and it's a little bit lighter than many fingering weight yarns. They recommend 28 stitches in 10 centimeters. You could knit it looser than that for sure. This is knit at 22 with,
but obviously it has
the Midnatssol, and this you kind of get away with a bit of a looser gauge perhaps than even a silk mohair. I bet you could do this with a standard like heavier fingering at even like 20
stitches.
It's always just fun to swatch and play.
If
you like the fabric, you're not going wrong. So,
totally. No, it's interesting. Like I've always was one of those people who was like, I need my yarn super soft. And so I wasn't sure about the whole untreated merino thing, but then obviously I discovered Ulysse and Gilead from Durerum Natura. And so now I'm all over, because it's the best of both worlds. It's got that woolly crunchiness that makes beautiful cables and texture, but you still get the softness.
Yeah. And this, I would say, is probably even a little bit softer than Ulysse, just because of it's got that smoother spin of a worsted spun yarn, and Ulysse is half worsted, half woolen spun. That's what I've heard. Also, there's a little bellied sleeve.
I know, it's so cute. It's the Espace Tricot balloon sleeve, but sort of subtilized.
Yeah, and I did have a decrease round, and this is why I want to rewrite it, because this pattern comes across a lot of sizes. It has 9, this will have 9 sizes, because it's basically based on the bright side. And I did size 1, but I just knit the arm completely straight down. But for the larger sizes where you have more stitches in the arms, I think it would be more appropriate, like a more proportioned silhouette, to have a couple of decreases so that this
is proportionate
and the balloon sleeve has the same effect across all sizes, because obviously if you're moving from I think this was 66, but if it were, I don't know the pattern off the top of my head, 76 or into the 80s, obviously like the wrist wouldn't have to proportionately be that big. You still want the wrist to be around about the same size. So to keep a similar proportion to the sleeve across all sizes, I will probably put in a couple decreases.
Perfect. We can refer back to our notes from our class that we taught.
Yeah.
Naomi and I taught a class together. Before this all came together, we were teaching a sweater design class together. So we have like fun internal reference stuff where we were just like talking in the same language from that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that's new?
Anything else that's new? I'm kind of surrounded by things. I've prepared them all. I have this, another Stephanie Earp special, the Sulina from 52 Weeks of Shawls by Liner Magazine. And tell us your big news, Stephanie, about this pattern.
Okay, so this pattern actually has come back to me where I can republish it as a single pattern. But to everybody who knit it from the magazine, thank you. There were beautiful, beautiful examples. But I know a lot of people wait for it to come out as a single pattern if they can't commit to the whole book, which was definitely a luxurious thing to treat yourself to. So what I've decided to do is actually release it as a free Espace Tricot pattern. I have it in translation at the moment, and as soon as it comes back, we'll be releasing it and doing up kits, of course. And this one you knit for your granny, is that right?
I did. So I will have to send her the YouTube link to this podcast after I've presented the gift. And there's only one thing missing, and a steam, tassels. So I made a couple. I made a little video of how I make tassels, so I'll put that up on Instagram as soon as we've decided our strategy for Instagram videos, which we would like to do more of. But it's just going to have one tassel at either point, and I think that'll just be super cute.
Yeah, you maybe can tell I'm a big fan of these like long, not too deep shawls, because they go fast.
Yeah, it's true. This was a really quick
It's
knit.
four skeins, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
4 skeins, and I had plenty to do the tassels. I knitted exactly as written with a number of repeats. I don't know if I would have squeezed out another repeat with what I had left.
I remember I was pretty
getting
careful.
Quite wide.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have, but I wouldn't have had enough left for tassels.
Yeah. By the it's in Woolfolk Luft.
Yes, didn't even mention the yarn. But we were thinking of another store sample in one of our other beautiful blow yarns, right?
Yeah, we were looking at Snefnug.
Yeah, blow yarns. That sounds
blow
really,
yarns.
Sounds really silly. It's actually what they're called. For those yarns that are a tube or a net of usually cotton or nylon, and the fibers are blown into that net which holds them. So they have this beautiful loftiness. They're super easy to knit with.
And light really for how bulky they are, right? Like
yeah.
It knits at a bulky gauge, but it's not a heavy feeling when you're knitting. It's not like weighing down your needles, and when you wear it, it feels light.
And I think that'll be perfect for my granny living in the northeast of England by the sea.
I like the idea of your granny wearing a shawl that I designed and that you knit. That makes me very happy. She's
the one who taught me to knit, as is a familiar story among many people, and that's just the greatest gift she could have given me.
Literally, look at where it's brought us.
Exactly.
You know, my whole thing with this when I was designing it was the idea of taking like the best parts of an Aran sweater and putting them on a shawl.
And you did an Aran sweater kind of like this.
Yeah, it almost looks like a raglan.
Yeah. A sweater.
The nice thing about coming to this role with a back catalog is like I have so many things that I'm excited to look at again, doing different yarns and refine the pattern a little bit, maybe add a size when there's the opportunity, and put them back out in the world as Espace Tricot patterns.
Absolutely. One final word on this, I realize I should emphasize what a perfect gift knit it is. I definitely can imagine knitting a couple of these in Snefnug or Air. So
we'll put some links to suggestions in the show notes of which other yarns would be great for it.
Yeah, for sure. And you can kind of get creative with this, eh? You've got this number of stitches in the repeat for the cable. You could find some other cables that
totally
that fit that stitch count.
Well,
you know?
like a part of it too is that because I was pitching it to like I designed it to go in this book of 52 weeks of shawls, I know from being sort of in publishing years ago that what they would want would be something that could be written in a short amount of space.
Right.
So I just wanted to choose something where like the cable was a short repeat that wasn't going to take a ton of chart space to describe. I like designing under those kinds of constraints. Like the more little things I can add to it to be like, how do I solve this problem?
And that's what they say. They always say that you design better when you have constraints placed upon you.
Yeah, if you can do anything, you can get totally paralyzed of like, well, what should I do? Are you getting hot?
I'm getting hot, but I'm so cozy. So it's hard to take it off.
At least today is cool.
I know.
It's good. It's like finally the sweater weather is here.
So what else? One last finished object. Yes, this is my last finished object.
You've been very productive.
Well, this I knit a while ago.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This I knit over the summer. It's actually maybe one of the only things I've knit two of, because I knit one in my own hand spun, and then well, you know, Lisa, I said I designed it myself. She said, you should write it up as a pattern, because she's always just like super encouraging to get our patterns out into the world. We all need a push sometimes.
Yeah.
She was always ready to give that push.
Other side.
Yeah, so I was going to, what was I going to do? No, I will flip it around. So this is my shawl, La Bise.
Oh, it's so light.
And it's 3 skeins of the Sunday morning fingering 4-ply. 3, 2. Gosh, look how far 2 goes, eh?
Yeah, that's great. And it's
2 skeins.
So light.
So light. And yeah, we got to talk about this yarn stuff.
I know. Well, I mean, we do, but also
Can't shut up about
everybody is really talking about this
yarn.
yarn.
The Sunday morning, Lisa and Melissa's crowning achievement, I think, as one of many. But
yes,
like what a way to round off your career at a yarn store, right?
Like
by
basically creating
like,
this amazing yarn line,
gorgeous yarn line, gorgeous base, palette that it resonates with everybody and all the colors go together. And
it's really well designed.
It.
It's thoughtful, but you know, I'm almost like worried that we shouldn't talk about it too much because I'm worried it'll all be gone by the time the podcast goes. Because it's a hot seller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People love it, and I think the more you knit with it,
the more you like it.
To. I just pulled out 4 random colors as suggestions for this beautiful 1-color, simple, slightly asymmetrical shawl, broken rib border. And they just, now I want color work in that.
Yeah. Totally.
Any random colors you pull out will fit together.
Yeah, it's together, really, and I think that's not an accident. That's,
of course, it's good design.
And a lot of hard work. And
so these beautiful labels with the cozy, inviting bed for lying in. And their sweet names.
Well, and all the colorway names are sort of inspired by that idea of Sunday morning. Like they're all about lazy weekends, sleeping in, eating brunch.
This is 5 o'clock somewhere. Very much how I treat the weekend. Better Together. Ritual, which really kind of just resonates with me. And Simple Pleasures.
Yeah. So this is the fingering weight.
This is a fingering weight. We have more of this left.
Yes. Okay, you're right. Because the DK really sold
flew
quickly.
Off the shelves. Lisa and Melissa had both designed some really great patterns for it. Well, this is 21 stitches. I knit the Wool and Honey. I'll wear that in a future podcast, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
The Wool and Honey sweater by Andrea Maury. I knit with it in the 4-ply, and that was a denser gauge, like 26 or something in garter. So it's really just so versatile across a range of gauges. And the Gentle Knitter podcast knit Melissa's DK weight shawl in 3 skeins of the fingering, and it's beautiful.
Totally.
And light. And it's so versatile.
Oh, and 4-ply is fingering, we should say. Not always, but in this case, the 4-ply refers to a fingering weight yarn.
This comes from the Laxton's. The base it's spun and dyed at Laxton's in Yorkshire in the UK.
And you're going to go visit them.
I hope. We're setting it up. It's looking like it'll work. But with everything with travel, I don't believe it until it happens. I'm going to England on Wednesday. I'm quite stressed about all the travel, as I'm sure many of you who have traveled over the last little while can attest to.
I'm just so grateful that my family has been here in Canada, though. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to be separated from your people for so long. And
I really have had the privilege of my family being able to come over. It's made me so much more cognizant of how difficult it often is to move around the world. I always took it for granted that I could jump on a plane and basically go anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's been
so.
But I'm glad you're going. I'm really excited for you. I'm obviously going to be missing you here. I'm going to send you lots of work to do. When it's nighttime here and I'm sleeping, you'll be working.
You'll wake up and get to your desk and I'll have a full day's work, right?
But I think part of what we've learned over the process of making this huge decision of, are we going to actually go for it? Are we going to buy the store? Are we going to become business partners? Is that, we can count on each other. Mm-hmm. And I would never want to be the reason you didn't see your mom and your sister and your family when you've been waiting so long to see them. I can hold it down, and we have the best staff ever.
Yes, it's true.
So
it's true.
We're going to make it through 10 days while you're away.
I wouldn't even consider it if it weren't for everyone holding everything down here. And now we have our beautiful new website.
Yes, so when we were talking about wrinkles.
Everything's running even more smoothly.
Yeah.
You were a champion getting that up this quick.
Yeah, so if you're a regular shopper on our website and you visited lately, you may have noticed that it's changed. I actually tried very much to choose a design that wouldn't be too different from what we had before, so that it wouldn't, trip people up too much if they're regular visitors. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been doing pretty much since, even before we took over. I was working with Melissa on it a lot, because Melissa was sort of in the web role. Mm-hmm. And we've been working together, and also Francoise was doing translation. So it's just been all hands on deck.
Big days.
We just came in with a lot of fresh energy and a lot of let's just nose to the grindstone. I mean, all of us did work an enormous amount. Naomi and also our colleague Amanda did an amazing amount of work on our images. And anyway, it's done. And it's up because there's still little bits of translation that need to happen, and there's still a few of our products that haven't gotten back online yet. So if there's something you wish that you're sure that we probably still have, but you're just not seeing it online, just reach out to us. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
So
we just took a little break there because I had to double check the phone was still recording, because I haven't done such a long recording before, and we were just talking about being worried about files getting deleted. So
yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
And it stinks. Well, and sometimes it's great because you get to re-say something. Maybe you take a little more time with it, and maybe you find the rhythm of it. Mm-hmm. But other times too, it's you feel weird because you're saying something for the second time and it feels rehearsed.
Not that I wouldn't do this over 1 million times just to spend time with you. But
oh, bless.
We've got many more podcasts to come.
Should we
new things every
do
time? Shall we move on? I have
whips?
Whips, yes.
Okay, I have a couple of whips.
Works in progress.
Okay. This one is a long-term whip. Like, I don't know.
How long are we talking?
Like at least 365 days. So this is also a design of mine. I swear I do knit things I didn't design.
You do?
I do sometimes.
You do.
So this is called the La Peregrina, which is an older design of mine from a while ago. But it's got a little,
very sweet,
like a sort of a heart shape in lace in the yoke.
Really sweet, and I love that in anything. Just like stockinette on reverse stockinette.
It just gives texture, and it gives a really strong
I'm not
vertical.
expressing myself well. Gives a strong vertical. That's the way you say it.
Well, this has got some cool little tricks in it because, you know, who wants to knit or work all these purls? It's worked in the round. But in this case, what I ended up doing is I figured out how to reverse direction in the round. It's really easy. You just make a German short row.
Right.
But I made a little video of it. It's actually probably my most popular YouTube video. It's like 2 minutes long, and it's me just showing how I did that. So yeah, after I knit the yoke, I reverse direction, and so then I'm actually knitting, you know, on this side.
Right.
So I can knit 11
pearl ones. It's also a lovely
one.
texture. I mean, this could almost be reversible.
Yeah. So this is La Bien-Aimée Sport, which
that yarn.
we don't have right now, but we are getting back.
Yes.
So by the time another 365 days goes by and I finish this.
You've got the sleeves. You can do that.
No. Yes. I just, when you take a year to knit the body, you're like, you run out of confidence. This Sleeve Island is going to be the size of Antarctica.
What are those sleeves on? What is going on there?
Okay, so probably a lot of you have already seen these TKB, the Knitting Barber is what that's short for, cords. So they're little silicone cords. And I gotta tell you, I was a major skeptic when I saw these came in. It's like, I don't, you know, what's wrong with waist yarn?
Right.
And then I tried them, and they're amazing.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, let me tell you all about it. So they have this little, like, they're just little.
They're hollow tubes.
They're hollow tubes.
Yeah.
But you can sort of.
Do you want a needle?
Yeah.
Do you want to show?
Yeah.
Hang on. Wait. Let me find you a needle.
How many do you have it there?
60.
We'll come back
More
to this
later.
Yes, we'll come back to that. See a little one.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I don't know how well. Maybe here, you hold that up, and I'll. Okay. So basically, you can just insert the tip of your needle, and it sticks. And so, if you are working on this, you could just slide it through.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, they are a little sticky.
Ooh, that's kind of good.
Yeah, they don't fall out.
That's kind of good. I was just going to be like, whoop.
No, they definitely.
But that's good. They grip. So
the silicone has some grip to it.
Nice. Okay.
So we don't have to do that, but basically that's what you do. Is like you put this right on the needle, and then you put your stitches, and then to take them off, you just kind of have to use your nail a little bit, but it doesn't damage them. Like I was worried about that. I thought, I'm for sure gonna split it when I try and take it off.
Right.
No.
Right. No. So it seems really sturdy, and then all the way along it grips. It's not going to fall off your needle while you're in the middle of transferring stitches.
No, and I was nervous about it, but I tried it a bunch of times, didn't have any problems. So now I'm a total convert. And what I really like about this is that I often would just buy extra cords for my interchangeable kits, and I'd leave my sleeves on the cords. And then one day I'd open up my kit and go, like, where are my cords? So I went looking for them, and that's when I used my TKBs. So I repopulated my cords into my kit, and now it's on here.
And they come in a sweet little tin. Do you have one? I put one in your basket.
Yeah.
So. With a super long one for a body.
And then 2 shorter ones for sleeves.
2 lovely short ones for sleeves. And
a bunch of different colors.
Yeah.
I chose white because I don't knit with white very often, so I knew that would be easy to see.
I've noticed we have quite a few left in black, and I think people might want to avoid that because, I think people think they want to avoid that because of it being a dark color, but actually if you're knitting with a lighter yarn, it's totally providing that contrast.
Yeah.
So don't be put off by the black. I might even fix them up because I'm always knitting pale colors.
Yeah, I just thought, I mean, occasionally I'll knit with white, but you know, I'll just get myself another set. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to show this. I'll keep working away on this, and then.
Did you alternate skeins?
No.
And you can't even really tell.
Well, I think that's the beauty of La Bien-Aimée. Really, her stuff is so good. So this is the color Madeleine.
Beautiful.
And
it's maybe a little lighter here, but only because I'm trying to see under these like podcast spotlight.
Yeah. It doesn't have a lot of ease. My original design had more ease. I was like, oh, I'm going to go down a little bit and try to make this yarn go.
I think that's a nice design for less ease though, because
and you see the
design nicely.
So yeah, I'm hoping that I'll have this all done, and you know, when we get the Merino Sport back, this can be a store sample, a design. Yeah. So that's one of my whips. And then my other one is in my beautiful transparent Loki bag, which I'll mention afterwards. But so I got inspired to make a pull the wool over hat, which is a classic Espace Tricot design from way back when, I think my first year that I was working here.
Maybe.
It goes way back. But you know, it's still popular. It was just, we just got a bunch of emails that it was featured in an email newsletter, right?
Oh, from a French Club de Tissu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's still
really
out there.
Popular. The classics endure.
So I'm almost done.
Such a good color on you.
Well, this is my color. I love this color.
It's everybody's color. Really?
You think?
Well, I mean, I don't know if everybody likes it, but I think it's a color that looks good on everybody.
Join me in the mustard yellow, purple combination.
Mustard yellow's been having a moment for a couple years now.
So I'm going to do it with this pinky magenta.
That is a fun combination. I'm just already thinking of that with like navy blue, black dog winter coats. Like,
I know one. I feel like I want some color. Yeah. And then I'm going to do a second one in this sort of purpley blue, dark purpley blue with a red pom-pom for sort of a little bit more of a gender neutral, maybe. I mean, not that this isn't, but
for sure.
A little bit maybe conservative for me. So that's, and I'm going to do them up as kits, new pull the wool over kits. This is in the Gilead by Durarium Natura, which again is one of those untreated merinos that's just beautiful.
It's just one ball, eh? And you have that much left?
You could get 2 hats out of it for sure.
Or at least like 2 kits, you'd have enough for like a third color blocked. Yeah. But maybe you'd even have enough for 2. Yeah,
or maybe you can do, I don't know. I'll see how much I have left at the end. Maybe I can add something to it.
Yeah?
I don't know what. A hanky?
Add it, what?
Like to the pattern idea. Like, oh, you buy that and you get the hat and then maybe you can knit.
Oh, knit a hanky?
A hanky.
Out of wool?
I don't know.
Out of
I have to see how much I'm going to have left. I don't know. Baby mittens?
See, baby mittens is like maybe a little more.
It's kind of a weird combo. A nice woman's adult hat and some baby mittens.
I think it would make more sense than a hanky. Earrings.
I'll make tassel earrings. Yeah. Anyway, so this is my work in progress right now. I mean, I was thinking I might even have this done in time for the podcast, but
you could probably have it done by the end of this podcast.
If I knit through the podcast.
If we've been knitting this whole time.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. And yes, this is like my favorite new thing that we've gotten in. I love a transparent bag because I love the idea of rocking up to knit night with like on my stash where I can see it.
Taking that to the festivals.
Yes, the shopping bag for Rhinebeck. If we'd gone, this would have been the one.
I would have definitely.
Yeah. So listen.
I wonder if that's going haywire under the reflection right now. I bet it's sparkly.
And so this is the transparent one, but there's a couple others. I'll show you. So there's like a milky one.
I like that one.
I know, it's kind of
cool. And it's fun with really bright colors inside it.
Yeah. We put a bunch of the Corey worsted in it to take a photo of it, and it looked great.
And the La Bien-Aimée, you had me at Tricot, we were piling it in.
Yeah, we did a big thing of it. And then there's also a hot pink version of it as well. So, you know, if you're knitting with your like a nice all natural, undyed Aran sort of yarn, then you can turn it pink by putting it in here.
Make it pink.
Yeah. So I think these are really cool. And, you know, they're for reusing. This is not a one-time use bag. It's something you're going to have for a long time.
It's a sturdy plastic.
Yeah.
And we were looking into it because I know some people do want to avoid plastic. I understand that. But it's recyclable.
Yeah.
It feels super sturdy. This is not a grocery one-use carrier bag, right? Like this is a project bag. You can clean them with a damp cloth or with Windex even.
Yeah, I've used Windex on them.
You know, they're designed to last, and you know, then if they don't work anymore, you could even sew these back. Like they are sewn. You could mend them if they ever tear, and then you recycle them.
Again, it's totally personal choice what people want to purchase and put in their homes and into their wardrobes and stuff. I totally understand that's it's deeply personal, but I know how much I'm going to use mine and how long I'm going to have it, and I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love them. And they're huge.
Yes,
Which
they
is
do
great.
hold a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have one more whippy sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just that I have a shawl that I finished in Retrosaria Rosa Pomar's Mungo, which is the cotton wool blend. And it's all in the natural color, like it's white, and it's this cool lattice. And I am going to use these new mini skein kits that we just got in to create sort of a not tassel, fringe, like a gradient rainbow fringe. So this is Midnatssol Uruguay Fino, which is fingering weight, single ply, superwash merino, gorgeous.
They have these. I love the way they put colors together, eh?
Yeah. And do you have the boxes?
Do I have some? I do. I have some boxes.
So with these actually come in a cute little gift box, but I want to take them out so that you could see. And also, since I'm going to use this one, I was like, we'll save the box.
Yeah,
you don't need the box for this.
Yeah. Oh, there's such a sweet little box. I'll bring it a little bit closer. I guess this would be the advantage of filming with the camera facing us, eh? But
we could see.
So that we could see. But I think the front-facing camera isn't as good quality. Anyway, yes, they're all named after, they have women's names. And I wonder if there's any rationale for it.
Oh yeah, this one is called Sybil.
This is Augusta. And the illustrations, these are just works of art. I would never be able to get rid of this box. I don't even know what I'd do with it.
I know. Well, so yeah, we have a pretty good array of color selection on the website with these.
So it's 490 yards.
Yeah, it's good.
For the 5 of them together, they're each 20 grams. 490 yards per 100 gram skein, but this is effectively
100 gram skein.
100 grams.
Yeah, so I mean, it can go a fair distance, but also I love this for combining with a solid color to do a shawl, to add stripes to something, to add fringe. Like, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And then that way you're not committing to buying
the whole skein of
5 100 skein, 100 gram skeins in colors that you only want a little bit of.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy we got these in.
I love those
them.
formats. Yeah.
So that's those are my whips. I mean, I have other whips.
Do you want to show Amanda's whip?
Yes.
Okay, you can better talk about this than me.
Okay. So Amanda is one of our awesome staff members, and just like we're continuing the tradition at Espace Tricot of having lots and lots and lots of store samples, so everybody knits. And so because I knit this already a number of times, I asked Amanda if she'd be willing to knit my design called the Rhea shawl, which was part of a collection I did for Manos in the fall. So this is, she's just starting, and this is going to be a long shawl. I'll show you a picture of it, but this is our black and white. We're calling it the graphic colorway. So black backdrop with this little white detail. It's actually knit in. You don't have to embroider it on or anything. It's a dip stitch style thing. You're knitting it as you go. Like, you don't have to apply it later. It's happening while you knit. And you do this thing where you put your needle through and pull out a bunch of loops to create this sort of flower, and then you decrease them back down.
It's so pretty.
So I know that Amanda mentioned for her, and I think she's English style knitter versus me, I'm continental. She used a crochet hook to make that easier.
Oh, okay.
But I found I was able to do it just with my knitting needles.
Yeah. We love this yarn.
Oh, I know. It's single ply.
This is already the episode of winter shawls, eh?
I know.
These like cozy,
well, I love winter shawls too.
Yeah.
So that, as I say, is what we're calling the graphic colorway. And then this was my original colorway. You may recognize this colorway from the hat I was just wearing, because I love this combination of colors. I don't know how well you can see the picture. We can also just link to this, but this is what the finished shawl looks like. The only reason I'm not showing mine is I sent it back to Manos because they have all the samples, and I'm hoping to visit them in New York at Vogue Knitting Live in 2022, maybe. Is
that in January? Can we go?
Yeah, you want to go? That'd be great. Anyway, so I hope I get to see them again there and pet them and say hi. So that's the original colorway called Bright. Mona helped me pick this colorway. Stuck together. And it's sort of a warm gray with this kind of poppy orange red. It feels kind of a bit Merino, like there's something very fresh, very modern. So we call this Mod. That's the name of this colorway. Nice. So we have a bunch of kits.
Lovely. And this is a beautiful yarn, 100% extra fine merino. It's like a worsted, heavy worsted single ply. So
it's
cozy.
like my go-to yarn from Manos. It's called Maxima. And
I didn't even just tell you the name.
It's so great to work with. Sweaters, shawls, anything. I love it.
Well, Amanda's doing a beautiful job, so I'm sure we'll have the
A finished one?
object, maybe for our next podcast.
That would be cool. So what's on your needles?
What's on my needles? I bought 2 things because this just came off my needles.
That's the problem. It's like I was working so hard to finish that hat, and then I was like, but if I finish the hat, I have no whip.
This, I guess I'll start with this one. This is my beautiful autumnal Lollibees bag. Lollibees is a locally made here in Montreal, and she just picks the most beautiful fabrics, like this forest mushroom and like this.
And this is like a velour.
Velour suede.
Oh my
It's
God.
just so beautiful. The contrast inside, I love it because she picks like bright colors for the inside, so you can actually see what's going on.
That's smart.
And you can find all your bits and bobs, and it has little pockets too, of course, just a little bit extra. So we still have quite a few of these left in some really beautiful fabrics, so I'll link to them below. But I've got 5 balls of loft in here right now, and I could still set it like a little bucket open, so they really do hold like the majority of a sweater quantity. Certainly you could fit any shawls in here. And this is a test knit. I haven't done one in a while, and this is for Sophia O'Shea, and it's just so much fun, this color work. It's got this, it's bottom up, but I'm actually really enjoying that for this color work
For a
sweater.
change, yeah?
Because
top down?
I don't have to swatch in the round. My sleeve is my swatch. So I started right away with my cuff, which has this fantastic bold structure with twisted rib and increases. It's got this really beautiful balloon thing going on. I'm reminded of like Anne of Green Gables when she can't get through the door. And this is a little bit emphasized, I guess, because I'm going to get into technicalities here, but I used the needle she recommended in the test pattern for the rib because I never go up a needle size. So I thought, okay, well, I'll use the one she recommends for the rib, and then she used 3mm, I think, for the color work, and that seemed a little small to me to get 22 stitches in color work, and sure enough, I went up to a 3.75.
Oh, so the difference between the two is huge.
The difference between the two is bigger than was intended by the designer. I made an executive decision to stick it out.
What are the other colors?
The other colors are...
Oh, I remember that we had fun picking these. Okay.
Gold, Hayloft,
Old World.
Old World, and
Iceberg.
Iceberg. This is all in loft, and I've been remiss. I've not found a photo of it, but maybe with my fancy video editing skills, I will put a photo in here. Let's see. I hope I did that. I hope I managed to do that for you.
If we didn't do it, what should we put up there? The giant
I will
question mark?
put a link. Well, no, the thing will be, can I succeed in putting anything there, or will it just be us?
Okay. Fair enough. You're right. If you could put a giant question mark, you could probably put the picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
If I don't manage to cut a JPEG into the video stream, I will put a link to her Instagram post in our comments below. She did it with 9 colors, which is so beautiful, her version. And it would be a fantastic stash buster because I don't think it's going to take much for each color. But she was really receptive to the idea when I said, oh, I might trim down the number of colors, just, you know, to make effective use of the yarn when we're starting from scratch with new skeins. So I've whittled it down to 3 contrast colors and then the 2 colors of the body. So this is the sleeve. The whole body will be in this houndstooth.
It's so cool.
And it's going to be fantastic. So I'm excited about that. I need to get a wriggle on though because it's due in November.
Oh yeah. Well, you've
So
got a big flight coming.
I do.
I really love this designer and I'm excited that you're doing this.
Mhm.
And then, but I'm also a little bit jealous. And
Well, do you want to knit the other sleeve?
no, that's not what I was going to suggest. But I did pick a bunch of Biche and Bouche Le Petit Lamb's wool and
Yes.
set it aside
For
for
her.
another one of her designs that I really
Trouvé.
love, Trouvé. So we will definitely post a link to her stuff. I just think she's a really interesting, exciting colorwork designer doing fresh things that I haven't seen before.
People aren't really designing bottom-up sweaters these days as much as they used to, and I'm knitting it and I'm kind of refreshed by it because by the time I join the sleeves and body, you know, it'll get smaller from there and it'll go by like that.
Yeah.
Like once I join for the body,
and it's
I
the
know
exciting color work part. Like the yoke on
Exactly.
this is amazing. So it's like, that's where things get
So
really
yeah,
interesting.
it's kind of like the reverse of top down. They're so simple to start. They go quickly, and then you get past here and you've got a sleeve to finish, and you've got another sleeve, and you've got the whole body, and there's all stock in it. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoy that part too, because
it all depends what you want out of your project, right? Like for sure.
It's true. It's more about and what do you feel like knitting in that moment.
Which is why I have like 12 whips that I need. Well, that's cool. I can't wait to see how it comes together.
Yeah.
And then
I'm doing, I guess it'll be kind of my second design. Well, third design for Espace Tricot.
Because there's a sweater, there's La Bise, and then this.
This is a cardigan.
Have we ever done a cardigan?
I don't think we've.
Espace Tricot?
Don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Melissa's knit cardigans.
There's not
But I
designed
don't think
them.
there's been an Espace Tricot
Look
cardigan
at this.
design.
There's still time for firsts.
Exactly. So this is very simple structure, crew neck, quite a high crew neck, super cute with a little shirt collar poking out or a little turtleneck. I'm all about that, like layered collars. I almost wore a little dickie today, but then I just...
You're like the only person I know who could wear a dickie.
I have like 4. But this yarn, this La Bien-Aimée Corrie worsted, 100% Corriedale, this beautiful heathered grey base, and this is the colour Avoine with the Shire and Dawn and Rust, and I just think they're gorgeous together.
It's beautiful.
And
I haven't knit with this yet, but I've heard you guys talking on the sales floor too that it's not a worsted weight. It's a worsted spun.
Really, it's definitely worsted spun. It could be knit at some worsted gauges. This is 22, and that's sort of just what it was when I swatched it, because I just chose a needle. This is a 3.5 for me, and I just like the fabric, so I went from there. I think it could be beautiful a bit looser, certainly as low as I think 18, depending on the structure and the garment. And then
it's like a light worsted,
it's a light
heavy
worsted
DK.
heavy DK. I would say if I wanted a hat in it, I would definitely knit at least 22, maybe 23. And another pattern that I really love for it, the Pilo, is 23.
Yeah.
And I understand why. Like it works.
Yeah.
It's lovely. So that's really what I have to say.
I can't wait to
about
see
this
it.
sweater. And I guess we have one more whip, which is from
from
Mona.
Mona.
So she has been knitting the Bay sweater from Jacqueline Cieslak, which we fell in love with as soon as it came out. What a beautiful pattern. It's like
it
this
is. The details.
gorgeous dolman sleeve, right?
Is it? I mean, it's quite interesting the way that the sleeve is created.
Yeah. I'll
It's
figure
kind of
out how to
easy.
put a picture
Yeah,
in.
put a picture.
So this is the front and back, the top fronts and backs are the same, Mona says. I'll hold it around stockinette size open. Neckline, and then you start with a crochet provisional cast on. And then the front and back are worked, and then you knit the body down. So this is from sleeve to sleeve.
Oh, that's cool. I love an unusual construction.
Yeah. And maybe I should have even mentioned the yarn first. This is alpaca lin.
Oh, lovely.
So it's got that beautiful
From Rauma, right?
From Rauma. Beautiful fuzz halo of alpaca, the lightness of linen. This is going to have beautiful drape. The gauge is 16 stitches. So
And I feel like Mona is the right person to knit this to, because it's going to have warmth, but with the ability for air to move through it. Mona is the person in our office who's always trying to open a window or get us to turn down the heat. So this is good. She will enjoy having this on her lap because it won't make her too hot.
So she's got through a lot, but I think that this is also like a good engaging, the kind of like engaging knit at a looser gauge that you can get through.
Because it's really interesting construction.
At a good pace. Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely making me want one.
And I really like this. This is showcasing this yarn in a way that's really making me want to start knitting with it right now, basically.
Yes. I always thought of Rauma as like, they do the workhorse Norwegian phenol strickgarn, like
Which
the
is right
colorwork
here,
yarns.
yeah.
But you can see a little bit behind us. But this is just airy and luxurious and like a bit of a different vibe from them.
Yep.
So it's a
Love
really
it.
interesting one. We have beautiful colors. We chose the beige for that sample, but I think I picked out this green.
It's like a very, very dark forest green.
Forest green.
That's gorgeous.
But it still isn't too blue. Like it's got a bit leaning more towards camo. So I think that would be a gorgeous option. And then I also think it would be fantastic in Drops Air.
Well, I feel like Drops Air is so good for so many things.
Yeah.
And this is always a really popular yarn around this time of year because it knits fast. It's kind of a worsted gauge, but it's lightweight. It's a great price. It's a good palette. We did the Turtle Dove 2.
Yeah. Anyone who's tried this just loves it and comes back to it again and again.
But meanwhile, should we talk about like things that are coming up and little things that are new?
Do you have anything you're excited about?
Well, my Sophie O'Shara thing that I'm going to cast on in my Biche and Bouche for sure.
Nice.
I'm also really looking forward to seeing the next issue of Pom Pom, Pom Pom 39, which is due here any day now.
Yes, and I forget the actual release date, but there have been some beautiful teasers.
Yeah,
on Instagram.
We'll put the release date in the show notes so that people can see. But I just feel like Pom Pom is the magazine where I get excited about every time. There's always something really interesting. Usually something I actually really want to knit. I don't always get to it, but I was a subscriber for years, and I'm definitely devoted to them. But then we also have a new issue of Making that's going to be coming out soon.
Making Dusk issue is coming out on the, I believe, 29th of October.
And then we have some new books.
We've got Aimée on order. We've got Stripes by Vera Valimaki with liner coming. We've got Corey Worsted that we're waiting for. I think that's November. Is that November 14th or 19th? Beautiful book. Beautiful teasers on Aimée's feed.
So yeah, that's where I'm like,
Aimée, and that's one that always catches my attention.
It's interesting, right? Yeah, I know.
I've bought most of them, and this upcoming issue I think is inspired by movies and film, so I think that'll be gorgeous. I
figure for sure with all of that coming in, something is going to catch my eye.
Absolutely.
I'm going to end up with a new whip before you know it.
Excellent. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited.
Well, I first got excited when Cleverest Stitch on Instagram, Tyne Swedish, who I've been going back to again and again for book recommendations. Honestly, everything she puts up in her Instagram for book recommendations is a stone cold classic. I've read several of them. It's audiobooks or ebooks because a lot of them are in my library app, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed all of them. Like great companion reads for knitting. So when she posted that she wanted to do a read along for The Secret History by Donna Tartt, I was just like, yes, this is the spirit I need to read this book, because I've been meaning to for so long. It definitely feels like it's everything I could want in a book from the little teasers I've been hearing, and you are a huge fan.
I've probably read that book once a year since I was 19.
Wow.
So I read it at a very impressionable point in my life, probably took it a little bit too seriously. I ended up actually studying Greek and the classics a little bit because of this book, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like I ended up really loving it.
I didn't know you studied Greek. I studied Greek.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can talk about ferrying or rut runs or something. I don't remember very much.
I could probably quote some bits of the Bible.
Oh, okay. Cool. I can definitely show you around Mykonos.
I did biblical Greek, Koine.
Okay. I did 5th century Athenian.
That's
Greek.
really cool.
Anyway, so this book I know almost by heart, I would say. I know it super well, and I'm so excited that Naomi's going to be reading it, and then I get to talk to her about it. Of course, no spoilers. I'll have to keep it in. But, so you're going to knit along with it, too. Is that correct?
Dark rhythms of campus. Sorry, I got distracted reading the blurb on the back. I just think it really inspired me to dream up a new project. Tyne also designs beautiful shawl patterns, and the whole like dark academia vibe of it really resonated with the last little bit I have left of my own dyeing, because before I took over the store, I dyed yarn as Humble Knit. This is an organic wool and linen base that I brought in for the first time this summer, and I sold at a little backyard market. But at that time, although I couldn't say anything, I already knew we were buying the store and taking this on. So I never put it up on Etsy, and I never reordered it, but it is just beautiful. I've knit a sweater for my mum in it, in these two colors actually. And it has it's a single ply, but it has gorgeous structure with the linen in it for a sweater, and it's not twisting or anything when I blocked it. But I think a shawl is really what I want it to be for myself. And all of my colors as a dyer I've inspired by nostalgia. And this is really inspired by somewhere that I'm very much longing for, my hometown of Oxford. I grew up in Oxford. My parents both worked for the university. My dad still does. And so these colours come from that. And that really paired very well with the story about the disillusionment of academia in a small town liberal arts college. So these colours that I think I might put together are called the Kilns, which is named after this beautiful garden and house of C.S. Lewis, Cotswolds, which is where the Oxford is, and Terrace is in the terrace houses that I grew up in, little Victorian red brick terraces. And then we were looking at other combinations.
I love these.
Friedwide, who was so cool. She was a princess and she refused to marry the local king. He chased after her, got blinded. She took pity on him, washed his eyes in the well, and he could see again. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's legend that's passed down. Friedwide. And this is Gaudy Night, which is the name of these big alumna dinners at Oxford. Also the name of an incredible Dorothy L. Sayers book. If you're a fan of crime writing, it's one of her best. And this is Evensong, which is always we would go sometimes to the church services at the cathedral, and it was just beautiful. They have excellent choirs in Oxford. And then this is Freud's, which is a fabulous cocktail bar. Oh, Friedwide again, because it pale blue goes with everything. And Illuminatio Mea, which is part of the motto of the university.
And so I know that I was giving you name ideas for these as like colorways for the shawl based on secret history. Do we remember what I said?
You called this one Southern Childhood?
Yes.
One was Violin Factory, but I forget which.
I think that's this.
Okay. And then I forget what.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. So I don't know what those mean. But
I started rereading the book last night.
Oh yeah. I haven't even said what shawl I'm knitting. I took a screenshot of the first page so that I can show you all. But again, I could probably just try to put in a picture for you. Here it is. This is the Autumn Skies pattern. It's a beautiful crescent shawl. I think it's going to use the colours in a really lovely way. I haven't read through the pattern, but I think it uses short row shaping to get the goal. It's at least what it looks like, and it's got a lovely little picot edge. So I'm really excited about that. Tyne starts reading the book on the 1st of November. We will tag all of the relevant accounts down in the notes.
I'm having a moment where I think it's actually a Guitar Factory. Isn't that terrible? Once a year for 20 years.
Don't even remember
and I think it's
what
a Guitar
kind of factory
Factory.
it is. But I don't think I'll do kits. I think I want you to be able to, if you're interested in that yarn, I'd love for you to be able to make your own combinations and look at the quantities you might need for different projects, and just because there's so little of it. It's really the very end of the line for that. Not that there won't ever be any humble knit in the future.
Who knows?
To be determined. Who knows? But rather than locking it all up in kits, I would love for you to just be able to browse it and at your leisure. And I said leisure.
Yeah.
Leisure.
I say leisure.
But that's North American. What? I said leisure. That's not right. But okay, I've got my tea at least.
But so you have some of
I'm going home soon. I'm going to get it drilled back into me.
When you come back, are you going to have a stronger accent?
I don't know. I kind of absorb the accent I'm around. When I'm with my friends, they think I sound super Canadian, but I probably end up sounding a bit more British.
What was I going to say? You do have some of your yarns in kits.
I do have some of my yarns in kits. Yes, I will wrap up that thought. I want you to browse those colours of the wool linen blend at your leisure. And I do have some yarns in kits because, of course, we were all wrapped up in Shawlography Mania, and we put together a few kits for the Shawlography. So this is my sock base, which is British wool and nylon. Some of the colours are the same, and there are some fresh ones too. These are the two colourways we have left. The Shire and Afternoon Tea, because these are really just, and I admit I've looked at the spoilers and it's really making me want to knit it, and I'm having FOMO.
Knit it.
I should just.
It's funny, we talked about it so much, and then
I know I was oscillating back and forth. I have a lot of other things to be knitting.
Well, and there's this feeling too, because we're taking the store on, of like we really want to get some stuff out and show you guys what we're all about, and let you see what we do. And then it's like, well, if I know I should be knitting designs, I should be knitting the store samples, and then for pleasure to knit something that's going to be super fun. But you should.
It's true, I should. And I've had a little bit of an achy, breaky heart with letting go of these, and it's just been such an honor to see people enjoying the yarns that I've dyed in Espace Tricot. I never put my yarns in stores really before, aside from some one-off projects, and part of me is like, I guess I should keep them for my archives and I shouldn't sell them all, but it's just, I want my yarns to be used, loved and enjoyed and worn, and I don't want them sitting in a bucket in my studio storage space. So
what you're saying is one of these might not be in inventory by the time this podcast goes, because you'll be knitting it.
I might be saying that. That might be what I'm saying.
Speaking of archives, can you get your knitting case out again?
Oh yeah, this is the Knitter's Needle Case. What do you call it?
This one's called the Original Case.
The Original Case.
So my little side business, or my business before we decided to do this, was I made cases for knitters along with my design work. And so this is my original case, which it's designed to hold 24 interchangeable needle tips and cables. But Naomi goes one further and has her shorties kits in here as well.
So yes, my 2 Chiaogu shorties kits. The little black pouches, they fit in the pockets.
So she's taken this from being 24 needles to...
Well, I also cheated, and one of these other side pockets holds all of my Leica 3.5 tips.
Oh my god.
But they're kind of just like, they're just kind of there.
Oh, okay, they're not in like a little pouch.
No, they should be. I don't think I've lost any. Fit in there because these are different sizes. They hold small tips really well, and then there are wider ones for larger tips, and the leather has molded beautifully to accommodate them all. So there are even some 8mm or 10mm tips in there. Here's the key because it's magnetic.
Yeah, this is great.
So that's where I keep my key.
I'm like, these are great. I'm amazing.
These are great.
But so this is basically what I have left is in the store now.
Yeah.
I definitely will get back to getting them made again, and I'll probably rebrand them as Espace Tricot rather than having a whole other company that I keep going with. Kind of once we get our feet under ourselves and we know how to do this part, then I can get back to doing this part.
It's a tough thing. You have to find the right artisan. Like, they're always made locally here in Montreal, and that's super important. And you visited them and saw everything. And worked really closely.
Unfortunately, with the pandemic, the studio did not make it through. I don't think that was the only reason.
I just love how this is wearing.
But yeah, so I have some work to do to find another artisan that can take it on.
Oh, and I don't know if you can see this stamp here. They don't all have that stamp. Steph gave me a good deal on the end of the run.
That was a second, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, those we still have some of those in stock in black. They'll probably be the last ones for a little while. Yeah. So if you're a devoted knitter with more than one interchangeable kit or an interchangeable kit that you've filled out, that's kind of what they were designed to be. And I also don't have any. I mean, I have mine that I use all the time. But I don't have any in my archive. I had somebody who was sort of desperately looking for one a little while ago, and I was like, well, I have this prototype that I could give you, and that's the last one.
What I really miss is the flip case add-on. We've got one left.
Should I go get it?
I think. Sure.
Okay.
It's such a great little expansion pack vibe, and I really hope you'll be able to get those made again.
I think so. So this is the little flip case. It's like it has another 8 needle slots in it and room for there's 2 more cable things. And the idea is
shorties patches.
Yeah, or shorties. So
maybe I haven't tried.
You can keep it closed like this, and even if you have if you use longer needles, it'll just adjust. But the whole idea is that laying flat, it can go in the middle of your original case and actually fold into the center of it.
Right.
Which is what I do, and then you're adding like another 8.
If you are traveling, and then you can just pick it up and go. Yeah. Right. So yeah, it could get you could have quite long tips.
You can go up to 5. I think.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really many tips that are longer than 5 inch.
Well, you'd be surprised. I did all kinds of research on different interchangeables and found that the variety out there is incredible. But yes, 5 is the longest most people find in a regular store. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely will get back to these. But in the meantime, we have what the stock we have is the stock we have that exists in the world. That's my archive. Wow. So, what do you think? Have we?
Oof, we really
we did a podcast.
We did a podcast.
Woohoo!
hope you enjoyed it. Oof, I don't really know what to think.
We'll have to go back and watch it and see how we did.
I think there's some good material here that we can put out into the world. I hope you agree again.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we both know that a huge part of why you all have enjoyed the podcast over the previous 37 episodes so much is obviously it's Lisa and Melissa's friendship and their partnership. And obviously it's a little intimidating to come and step into those shoes. But then I really think in the end, our story is in some ways very similar to theirs.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
met through knitting.
Yeah.
We're both we knew we were hustlers. Like we both loved our businesses.
Yeah.
We loved being out there trying to make things happen. And we knew we wanted to work together. And really,
we knew we wanted to do something.
We were already talking about doing something together before this opportunity came up.
Yeah.
And then when it came up, it was like, well, that's the right one, because we never wanted to do enough the same thing for it to be an obvious match.
Yeah.
And then this happened and it was like, ba-doo. So
yeah, it's just a fabulous opportunity that I couldn't do with anybody anybody else. Like,
yeah.
There's nobody else I could do this with.
No, if the opportunity had come to me alone, I would have said no.
It's a big
job. Yeah.
And it's just so wonderful to know that someone else has your back while you're doing it.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
And not just one person, you know, our whole team. But
I don't honestly. There's too much.
Yes.
But also, like, I rely on you so much to, like, am I right about this? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this the thing? So I hope you'll enjoy watching us do our thing too. We'd love to hear what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback, and just thanks for letting us be on your screens.
This has really been, as Steph said at the beginning, we didn't really script this. We had a plan, as in we have a bunch of yarn at the floor and bins at our feet. That was our plan. But it's been more comfortable and natural and fun.
It'll just get easier.
And it'll just get easier. And we hope that you will come along with us for the ride as you get to know us. I'm sure we'll be talking so much about ourselves over the coming episodes. That was really a whirlwind introduction to who we even are and how we got started at the store. I think we've got a lot of fun things we can talk about. We've shown you a lot of stuff from the store, but I think there's a lot of lovely things I'd like to talk about in the world of knitting.
Techniques and tutorial stuff too, I'm really interested in. And there's tons. But so, good.
That's us. Good.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Not guys. Thank you, folks. I gotta stop doing that.
I know, we gotta train ourselves out. Thanks, folks. And
we'll see
you again next time.
Bye.